Hello, good morning. Welcome to Axiom Flux News. Today's date's the 25th of February 2015. I'm PJ, and tonight I've got Dom in the house and Stav. And the first article to start us off with is the gunman opens fire on Czech restaurant staff and customers. I'll go straight to the short video that's attached. Let's give you some idea of what
9 people have been killed after a shooting at a restaurant in the Czech Republic. Police say it happened in a town 300 kilometres southeast of the capital, Prague. Local media is reporting one of the dead is the suspected shooter. It's believed the shooter is a 60-year-old who is suffering mental health issues.
Okay, so a gunman opened fire inside a restaurant in eastern Czech Republic on Tuesday, killing 8 people and wounding one before he fatally shot himself, officials said. It was the worst shooting attack in the country's history. The gunman was a local man aged around 60, said Patrick Kunkar, mayor of the southeastern town of Huriske Brod. A waitress from the restaurant was hospitalized, he said. Interior Minister Milan Chovanec, who arrived at the scene, said the man had a gun license and it was not a terrorist attack. The gunman killed 8 before killing himself, police spokesman Pavel Stransky told the Associated Press. There's an image of the crime scene there, outside the restaurant. The attack shocked the town of 17,000 that lies 300 kilometers southeast of Prague, the capital, and is home to the Česká Zbrojovka gun plant. Nobody believed anything like that could happen in such a small town, Kunkar said. I can hardly imagine what consequences it will have for the future life in this town. The country's chief police officer, Thomas Tue, said authorities wouldn't reveal more information in the coming hours because of the ongoing investigation. The waitress was shot in the chest, has undergone hour-long surgery, said Donna Lipovska, spokesman for the hospital in the nearby town of Huriske Horodist. Her condition remains very serious, Lipovska said. So it's not a terrorist attack, it's not been declared one, for those that are wanting to know. But yeah, similar incident to the one in France. By location, as it being a cafe, and this one's a restaurant, but it's not in connection with the latest terrorism events. So any questions, any thoughts before I move on to the next one?
Yeah, very quickly, the article at the top says, did he have mental issues, this guy? Or suspicions of mental issues or something?
Yeah, he said that he's apparently got some sort of mental issues. Whether he has or not, I'm not sure.
He's also a former mayor of a city, is he?
Is that in the video?
No, it says the gunman was a local man aged 60, said...
No, it was Patrick Kunkar, the mayor, who said that.
Oh, sorry, I misheard that then. I thought you would say that he had mental issues and he was a former mayor of the town. But listen, yeah, well, that's all I was going to pick up on that, PJ, and I suppose...
No, it's good that he did, just in case I, missed it.
Yeah, I suppose more will come out. Who's the guy in the video?
That's him, apparently. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I'm not sure.
Oh, right.
Don't count me
Well,
on
the
that
gunman
one,
was aged around 60, he says. The gunman was 60, so it's not him. It's not the book. So I think he's one of the people who died.
I was going to say, he looked... I don't know. Right.
Yeah, it's not him, is it?
I guess more will come out at the time as it goes on and whatever. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, carry on, PJ.
Alright. So the next one is the Australian government is about to spend $300 million on self-piloted killer drones. Unmanned aircraft, the Reaper drone, an unmanned US aircraft used in the Middle East, is coming to Australia and is here to stay, say authorities. Australia is set to purchase up to £300 million worth of armed Reaper drones from the United States. Defence chiefs expect the controversial decision to equip the RAF with the missile-armed pilotless planes to be unveiled in a new defence capability plan as part of the Defence White Paper due out later this year. The government yesterday revealed the 6 Air Force personnel had already started training on the unmanned strike aircraft at 2 bases in the United States. News Corp Australia understands that the Air Force is seeking 8 unmanned MQ-9 Reaper aircraft made by General Atomics and 2 ground stations. The drones cost about $20 million each when fully equipped. Nice pose for that one, eh? RAAF Chief Air Marshal Jeff Brown told News Corp Australia yesterday that the Reaper was high on his list of priorities and he hopes it survives the fully costed white paper process. It is certainly something we have put forward, he said. I think Army is a big fan as well. Air Marshal Brown said opponents of the armed drone concept were emotive and did not know what they were talking about. I certainly don't see any difference from dropping a bomb from a Reaper or an F-18. Parliamentary Secretary for Defence Darren Chester said the technology had proven its value in the Middle East, where armed drones had conducted numerous attacks against insurgent targets. In rare cases, innocent civilians had been accidentally targeted by the unmanned warplanes. It would be remiss of Australia not to continue to develop our knowledge of their technology to ensure we are able to gain the greatest benefit from unmanned aerial systems and the best protection for our troops. Not like they need any troops when they've got these. Unmanned aircraft dominate this year's Australian International Air Show at Avalon near Geelong. A 14.6-ton US Air Force Northrop Grumman Global Hawk unmanned high-altitude long-endurance jet touched down at 10 p.m. on Saturday night for its first ever appearance at a civilian airfield and air show. It flew 14 hours from a US base on Guam in the North Pacific and was guided through the busy Melbourne area, controlled airspace after lengthy negotiations between military and civil authorities. Do it again. That's about it, just to finalise this one off. Oh, here we go, we'll skip to that bit. The benefit to society far outweighs any negativity. It's there, look. It's always to benefit somebody, and it's usually you guys. So there it is. Just thought I'd highlight that. Meanwhile, an £86 million contract to deliver satellite ground station by BAE Systems, the one and only, has been added to the Defence Projects of Concern list of shame. It is understood that another troubled project, the Airbus multi-role tanker transport, will soon be removed from the list after problems with a fuel transfer boom were fixed. That's it. So watch out, Australians. They're coming your way and they're there to stay. Over to you guys, any thoughts? Surely you've got to have some thoughts on this one.
Well, so what, they're buying these drones, Australia, right, to deploy what in foreign countries where their troops are, or to use them on their own people or in Australia. What
doesn't really go into it, really, does it?
Yes. Yeah, so who are these drones for exactly? Are they for Australian troops that are going to be deployed or have been deployed to?
Well, it's to protect the troops, so it will be used in some sort of...
But the Americans and the British have got drones in those areas. Why do Australia have to pay out from their taxpayer?
Maybe because America's got so much of a bad name.
But they're American made.
Yeah, but probably they might think makes a difference if they pass it on to another country and get them to do it.
Well, I think it's just all a red herring. I think these are going to be used for domestic use sometime in the future.
Well, I'm just trying to explain without having to say that, but it could be possible.
Well, no, I think it's just my opinion, my thought that perhaps there's something further down the pipeline, or maybe nearer Australia. Maybe they suspect problems in that part of the Indian Ocean or the Pacific in the not too near future. I mean, you've got to look at all these things. I don't know. I've got a clue, but.
What's your thoughts, Dom, on that?
Eh?
What's Dom's thoughts on it? Any thoughts from you, Dom, on the Australian government?
Gone again?
Not sure. I'll move on to my next one. Spy agency watchdog incapable of holding government to account, human rights group. Britain's Intelligence and Security Committee, the ISC, is a hopelessly inadequate watchdog that has failed to hold UK security services to account for 15 years. Human rights charity Reprieve warns. The human rights group damning criticism surfaced in the wake of Sir Malcolm Rifkind resignation as committee chair, which sort of like spoils one of my other articles really, but I wanted to show it in this order. Rifkind stepped down from the role on Tuesday following abuse of power allegations. Commenting on the Rifkind scandal, Executive Director of legal charity Reprieve Claire Algo said, "It should not detract from the ISC's key problem. That is unfit for purpose." She warned the ISC has consistently failed to challenge government on key issues such as UK complicity in CIA torture and depleted privacy rights in an era of mass surveillance. The Executive Director of Reprieve said the vital role is effectively being left to British courts, NGOs and press outlets as government officials failed to do their job. She stressed Rifkin's resignation highlights the need to address the government's prevailing lack of accountability. Alga said the ISC requires root and branch reform if it is to succeed in holding the more secret elements of the state to account. She called upon the government to honour its original pledge to conduct an independent, judge-led inquiry into Britain's involvement in torture. My opinion, never going to happen.
Well, today Blair's come out and he's supporting Jack Straw.
Teflon Blair.
Mm.
Well, he will be one. He's got to stand by Jack Straw.
If you need anyone to back you up, all better than Tony Blair.
Cameron had announced such an inquiry in 2010. That was just to sneak his way in. However, in December 2013, the Tory-led coalition government scrapped the pledge and appointed the ISC to investigate the matter. The US Senate Intelligence Committee's explosive report on CIA rendition and torture was published in December last year. It described how detainees in covert CIA prisons across the globe were subjected to enhanced interrogation techniques. There's plenty of documentaries out there that shows you the secret CIA tortures methods that they go to, such as waterboarding and others, such as brutal beatings, rectal feeding, forcing detainees into coffin-sized confinement boxes for hours at a time. Other things like sleep deprivation, which are most common, what people are aware of. But you're minded, you're bamboozled on the things that they do. In recent years, some detail on the scope of Britain's involvement in the US rendition practices post 9/11 has surfaced. An array of leaks which appeared prior to the publishing of the Senate's report highlighted Britain's collaborative role in the CIA's mistreatment and abuse of terror suspects. Particularly, and are allegations that British Foreign Territory Diego Garcia was used to transfer detainees via rendition flights. It is also alleged that MI6 was complicit in at least 2 separate CIA rendition cases in 2004, which resulted in the kidnapping and transfer of 2 Libyans to prisons run by the government of Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. In January, an in-depth investigation into unanswered questions raised by the Senate's Total Report was launched in Britain. The probe seeks to address crucial gaps in public knowledge which linger in the wake of US censorship of the Senate's report. The investigation is a collaboration between Britain's Bureau of Investigation Journalism and a university research initiative called the Rendition Project. Journalists working on the project are seeking to uncover what was redacted in the final Senate report and what information remains buried in the 6,000 pages of unreleased content. So this is just to keep your in the eye of it, really. It should be a lot more going off a lot quicker than it has, but you know, here we go. Blair whitewash, ex-PM prepared to face CIA total inquiry into UK complicity. So you sent out of that one, Teflon. Right. Any thoughts?
Only nothing to come out of it.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Do forgive me, I forgot he's above the law.
Yes,
so,
yeah. Teflon Tony has done good.
Hey, we can all make mistakes, apart from Tony. Moving on. Cameron commits troops and non-lethal aid, non-lethal, to Ukraine. So he's sending troops and non-lethal aid. Notice how it's written. This is just a headline from the RT. Prime Minister David Cameron has said Britain will not supply Ukraine with lethal weaponry in the fight against rebels in the east of the country, but UK troops will support Ukrainians with tactical intelligence, training and logistics, aka bullshit propaganda and crazy ideas. Speaking to the Liaison Select Committee, David Cameron said UK support would be given well away from the area of conflict, adding that the purpose of aid would be to improve Ukraine's tactical advantage. There was further questions on the capability of the UK to defend its airspace after RAF jets were scrambled to intercept Russian bombers last week for the second time in 2015. He said the Russians were probably trying to make some sort of point, but added that he didn't know what the point was. Cameron said Britain should be confident in its defensive strengths against Russia. EU and US leaders accuse Russia of supporting the militias in Donbass. The claims have been repeatedly denied by Russian officials. He added that should Russian President Vladimir Putin risk destabilizing the Baltic states with a cyber attack or similar, he would risk confrontation with NATO. We are committed to their collective defence, Cameron said, but he did not give an indication of what a red line might be in terms of intervention. He said the UK must continue to work with Russia on matters other than Ukraine, despite the country not behaving like a strategic partner to Europe, saying it was important to join efforts to stop Iran acquiring nuclear weapons. The Prime Minister, however, also advocated deeper sanctions against Russia, adding that the Baltic states and Poland were likely to agree. Cameron's actions go against those of French and German leaders Hollande and Merkel, who are pushing for a peaceful and diplomatic solution to the conflict. The leaders orchestrated the Minsk peace talks where a ceasefire was agreed, though there have been reports of continued clashes since the deal was reached. What were it on the first day, Andy? 139?
Something like that, yeah.
Last week, the United Nations Security Council voted unanimously to approve a Russian-drafted resolution to support the Minsk agreements reached by the leaders of France, Germany, Russia and Ukraine. The resolution was submitted to the UNSC by Russia on February the 13th, a day after the Minsk deal was agreed. It is aimed at endorsing and executing the Minsk agreements. The document also expresses the concern over the continuing violence in eastern Ukraine and stresses the importance of resolving the conflict peacefully. It was revealed early February the US is considering sending arms to Ukraine. So that's probably why Cameron's saving a few bob.
Yeah. Well,
Over to you guys, any thoughts?
Well, do you remember the other week we were covering the ceasefire? Said, well, look out, because all ceasefires only mean one thing, and that's to escalate hostilities, and that's what's going to happen out of this.
Well, these shows should be anywhere. They should be in Iraq or Syria, not in Ukraine.
Oh, they have been, but you know.
Ceasefires don't work unless one side's got total dominance completely over the other. The only way a ceasefire would actually work is when you've got a military might like Israel against the Gaza Strip. There's no contest, is there? So that ceasefire is going to work because it's been enforced on them. Whether it's enforced on them by the United Nations, it doesn't anyway. But in this case, most ceasefires always mean an escalation of the conflict. That's what they're used for. And this will be no different. And we said this a couple of weeks ago, PJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, there you go. That's what's on that.
Okay, Bercow, cash for access, MPs may copy it. Speaking exclusively to Sky News, Sly News. Stand Up be countered, the Speaker reacts to claims against the Malcolm Rifkind and Jack Straw. But before I play this, I want to bring you to this, because it were briefly discussed in the first articles that I talked about. So let me just bring you to this one. Cash for access, Rifkind steps down as MP.
I mentioned in my statement that I did not want the work of the committee to be distracted by the controversy as regards my position. I attach a great deal of importance to the work of the committee. It's quite obvious, whether fairly or unfairly, this had become an issue, and therefore it's sensible. And in any event, of course, the committee ceases to exist in 4 weeks' time, and Parliament is prorogued, because we're talking about a very short period.
Do you think you did anything wrong?
No, I don't think I did anything wrong. I may have made errors of judgment. We all make errors of judgment. We're all human beings in that sense. But if you think on the substance of the issues of Channel 4 and the Telegraph, no, I don't think that the allegations are justified.
Was it your decision, or were you pushed by Downing Street? Downing Street say, was it your decision to stand down, or did Downing Street say we want you to go?
No, the Downing Street don't have that power.
You're under no pressure.
The Intelligence Committee, let me answer your first question before you ask the second. The Intelligence Committee acts under Act of Parliament. The Prime Minister has no power to dismiss members of the committee. The committee makes their own decisions. I reflected on the situation last night. I could see that the issue was obviously an issue which was arising in public interest. I did not want to work with the effective, and therefore I informed the committee at the very beginning. So this is not a discussion that's been going on all morning, far from it. At the very beginning, when we met at 10 o'clock, I read a statement which was the statement we issued to the press, and we went on to do the main business before I read it.
Were you the author, do you think, your own misfortunes, in the sense that some of your comments yesterday clearly upset and angered many of your colleagues, particularly the suggestion that you were entitled to a higher standard of living because of your professional background?
Well, if I use the word entitled, that might not have been the right word. Each person determines on the work they do, the kind of living standard that they hope to aspire to, and you take judgments based on that. And as long as it's within the law and it's within these matters, then that's very, very sensible.
And why are you standing down the next election as an MP?
Well, I can give you a very clear answer. I put out a statement this morning explaining that. People of Kensington and the Kensington Conservatives have been very, very supportive, enormously supportive. No one has suggested that I should step down. Again, I took that decision because there is very major uncertainty, because I don't any longer have the Conservative whip. That might be reversed in 3 weeks' time when the party committee has completed its work. But we don't know how that work is going to be completed, and therefore I do not want to leave my colleagues in the Conservative Association in Kensington suddenly finding, with an election round the corner, that they have to find a new candidate. That would be unfair.
What were his final thought? Election. Alright, moving on. Oh yeah, that's it. Let's go back to this. This is it. So we're going to go into this one now. And hear what?
Oh, we never got rid of Riff Raff.
You'll like this one, guys. It's a shorten.
They're both highly intelligent, highly capable, highly experienced people. It may well be that errors of judgment have been made, and if that is so, then they will cop it. They will face the music. They will suffer a penalty as a result. My attitude is that people should be in Parliament to represent their constituents, to stand up for principles, policies dear to them. People should not be in Parliament to add to their personal fortune.
There you go. In Parliament to add to their personal fortune. There's
How much did he leave in trusted Teflon Tony? In a trust that people, well, you can't see how much he's worth.
And where did they say John Bercow will try to cover up expenses? You try to cover it up? Try to get a block on it being reported?
I think so, I may be wrong.
Wait, no, it was John Bercow, yeah. Speaker.
Right, so we've covered that. Brings me on to my final one. Mum arrested for abuse after beating daughter and sending her to school in grade shaming t-shirt. Where it said on it. I don't know if you can see that there. Try and get a little bit bigger. Okay, so my name is, I currently have all Fs in all of my classes. I'm not allowed to have a boyfriend no time soon, so back off before I get another good whooping like I got last night. Also, I can no longer have any friends until all of my Fs are all brought up to Cs and above and up. A US mother has been arrested for child abuse after she allegedly beat her daughter and forced her to wear a t-shirt bearing humiliating details. Melanie Joyce Alexander was 30 years old. This is her, yeah. Accused of beating a middle school daughter with a metal studded belt before sending her to school with a t-shirt flaunting the child's failing grades. The handwritten t-shirt shamed the child for earning Fs in all her classes and further warned her friends and any prospective boyfriends to back off before I get another good whooping like I got last night. According to the Mirror, police documents show the child was beaten with a leather belt with holes and metal divots that left impressions on her arms, neck, chest, back and legs. The t-shirt also said, "My days eating French fries and being a social butterfly is over because I know why my parents send me to school." It reads in black ink. The girl was banned from having any friends until her grades were brought up to C's or better. So unless you are helping me with this goal, back off, it warns. A police officer responded to West Hernando Middle School, Florida last Friday out of concern over the child's attire. According to the arrest, Alexander used excessive force by the Department of Children and Families, leading to arrests. Pretty shameful, really. In both accounts, you know, what she did to her daughter and what she really done to herself. Any thoughts on that one?
Let's look at a picture again.
You want to see a picture? I'll just try and zoom it out because it's a bit big there, isn't it?
She looks quite happy, individual, doesn't she? Looks a really well balanced parent. I don't know. I don't know. There's something not right about the photograph. I'll put it in words, but can you put it into words, Big J?
Not really.
She's saying, I don't know. Is that the look of a parent that wants to chastise and embarrass a child and chastise, beat up or whatever, and then embarrass a child to wear a t-shirt like that. But the motherly thing to do, I guess, I don't know.
Well, she must live in fear to actually wear the t-shirt and keep it on through school.
Yeah.
Because I know as soon as I'd gone in school, it'd be coming off.
Well, perhaps in America, I don't know. I know in this country they're fining parents for school attendances and making the parents pay these £100 fines. Is it the same situation in America now with academies or corporatized schools?
Yeah, I gather so, yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Well, obviously money means more to that woman than her own child, so obviously, you know, she thinks more of not paying a fine than being a mother, perhaps. I think a lot of people are already saying that about a lot of parents in this country, I think. Which is quite saddening, isn't it?
Would you write that on your kid's t-shirt, Dom? Send him to school?
Oh no, I definitely not write all like that. It's not needed. Anyway, we'll get to the school gates.
Okay, well that's me finished. Who's stealing the spot? Was it you, Andy?
Yeah, I think Dom wants. Do you want to go last, don't you, Dom?
Yeah, if that's alright, yeah.
Okay, I'll share the screen. Right, I was going to do
more articles to cover, so I'll go last.
Okay, well, I'll go straight to this one. One article you've already covered, PJ, so we'll leave that one. I guess we should have conferred before we started. This is just about a couple of bits and pieces, really. About, you know, the Earth, really. This is about strange things happening in Russia, apart from the Ukraine. Oh, is the Ukraine Russia? Well, that area. But this is a bit further north, I think. Anyway, natural disaster looms for Russia as mystery craters appear. Well, mysterious craters are popping up in Russia, believed to be caused by methane gas eruptions in melting permafrost, scientists have said today. The huge mushrooming of holes are a ticking time bomb, according to one Russian expert who says that a recent outbreak of craters just 6 miles from a major gas production plant could be a disaster waiting to happen. Scientists are still baffled by the exact process causing the craters. A respected Moscow expert, Professor Vasily Bogoyavlensky, today called for urgent investigation of the new phenomenon amid safety fears. Till now, the existence of only 3 Siberian craters had been established. We know now of 7 craters in the Arctic area, he told the Siberian Times, referring to the larger holes. 5 are directly on the Yamal Peninsula, 1 in Yamal Autonomous District, and 1 is on the north of the Krasnoyarsk region, near the Taimyr Peninsula. We have exact locations for only 4 of them. The other 3 were spotted by reindeer herders. But I'm sure that there are more craters on Yamal. We just need to search for them. I would compare this with mushrooms. When you find one mushroom, be sure there are a few more around. I suppose there could be 20 or 30 craters or more. 2 of the newly discovered large craters, also known as funnels to scientists, have turned into lakes, revealed Professor Bogoyavlensky, Deputy Director of the Moscow-based Oil and Gas Research Institute, part of the Russian Academy of Science. It is important not to scare people, but this is a very serious problem. We must research this phenomenon urgently to prevent possible disasters. We cannot rule out new gas emissions in the Arctic, and in some cases they can ignite. The first hole was spotted in 2013 by the helicopter pilots 20 miles from a gas extraction plant at Novonyankova on the Yamal Peninsula. An examination of the area using satellite images comparing landscapes in the past with the present day has alerted Russian experts to the prospect that the phenomenon is more widespread than first thought. Experts are particularly interested in a crater by the name B2, which just 6 miles to the south of the gas field of Bovianenkova. Old satellite imagery shows no signs of craters at the site, but there now exists a lake, 100 meters by 50 meters, surrounded by 20 smaller holes filled with water. These mini craters are just a meter or 2 in diameter. And following the discovery of a funnel at Atipayuta on the Yamal Peninsula, nearby residents told scientists about seeing a flash of light, possibly as a result of a gas exploding. Oh, it's quite in-depth, isn't it? Goes on to say, these questions are important for the safe operation of the northern cities and infrastructure of oil and gas complexes. There's already a scientific concern that Lake Bercow, the largest and oldest freshwater lake in the world, but well outside the Arctic Circle, could be among the places sitting on a time bomb ready to explode. Scientists have previously said there is growing evidence that rising temperature is the main catalyst triggering the blasts. Here we go. Any continued increase, as it predicted by meteorologists, could create the ideal conditions for more craters to be formed. It is thought permafrost at the sites could have 1 million times more methane hydrates locked inside than ordinary gas. One expert estimated that the total explosive power of the craters has been equivalent of 11 tons of TNT. There are also 2 tectonic fault lines across the Yamal Peninsula, with another possibility being that blowouts are caused by a deadly combination of heat leaving these rifts are higher than normal air temperature and the fire ice melting. The professor revealed one picture of a Yamal lake showing signs of what he calls degassing. This haze that you see on the surface shows gas seeps from the bottom of the lake to the surface, he said. We'll call this process degassing. He's not sure if this lake too was previously a crater or if the lake formed from another process. More important is that the gases from within are actively seeping through this lake. Well, this is the old that's in that article. This is the old story they've been putting out, especially global warming theorists, about all the methane because of the melting permafrosts in Siberia and that. There's this massive leak of methane going to be released to the atmosphere and cause the never-ending chain reaction of global warming, heating up even more and boiling the earth. We'll boil to pieces.
To me, it looks like an abandoned asbestos mine.
Yeah, it looks like a quarry, doesn't it? I don't know what to make of this story. I don't know
Quarry, yeah.
I picked it because I thought it might have some significance towards, what's happening to the earth or whatever. But as I read it, to be honest, I didn't read the whole article before I thought about putting it up. But you covered one of the articles I was going to cover in more depth, but I don't know, I just fancied picking this one up. It just seems pretty much a non-event, actually. Anyway, I'll go on because I thought it might have some sort of connection to what they're not going to, in my theory, what they're not telling you beyond all this climate change malarkey. But it doesn't really. It sort of confers. It goes along the lines of the global warming nutters. But there we go. But anyway, going from that, which to the sun, which is all about global warming, isn't it? Oh no, not according to global warming theorists. It's not the sun. The planet doesn't get heated up by the sun. Global warming is through traps.
That's preposterous.
Right? I know. It's all the CO2. It's got nothing to do with the sun, the warmth on the earth. Alright. Anyway, so it took me to this, which is quite interesting. I remember the last one. I guess you guys do. Was it 99? Total solar eclipse set to take place over Europe next month. Did you know about this total eclipse, PJ?
I've heard people talking about it.
Oh, you have? Right.
Yes.
95%, is it 96% of Britain will be covered by it?
They talk about it all the time, though. It does be heavy. Supermoon.
Well,
Get rid of the supermoon.
Yeah, well, I've heard the talk of the four blood moons and all that business, and we've had 2 of them, haven't we, apparently last year. And anyway, a solar eclipse.
Yeah, but sorry, they just connect it to other stuff, and most of it's just scaremongering stuff. But as long as you remember to take your garlic on a full moon, that's all you need to know.
Get them buggers killed off at the right time. Anyway, a solar eclipse will plunge the UK into darkness next month on the morning of March the 20th. Oh, sorry, just dropping back to what we said. Is it something to do with making the eggs infertile, PJ?
It kills off, the eggs before they hatch, or whilst they're hatching.
Okay. Digress. On the morning of March 20th, the moon will cover the sun, blocking out its light. In parts of Europe, nearly 90% of the sun's rays will be blocked, and some parts of Scotland will experience 94% darkness. This event will be the largest solar eclipse since 1999, and astronomers say that the next total eclipse is not due until 2026. By the time I think we'll all be frozen out. There you go, that's another story. The Mail Online reports the solar eclipse is set to block out nearly 90% of the sun light across parts of Europe next month, and it will be the biggest event of its kind in 16 years. On March the 20th, the moon's orbit will see it travel in front of the sun, casting a shadow over the Earth. The eclipse will see up to 84% of the sun covered in London and around 94% in Glasgow, Aberdeen and Edinburgh, Dom. We weren't far off there. Meanwhile, sorry?
No, just saying 16 years, its biggest event of its kind. Well, that's interesting, because global warming's been how long? How long's it been missing? 17 years?
Yeah, something like that.
So we've got global cooling for the past 17 years while the moon's getting bigger, yeah? Solar eclipse. Maybe that's a connection, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it could be. On 20th March, I've done that bit. Meanwhile, electricity system operators have warned the eclipse poses a serious risk of blackouts all over Europe as the continent increasingly relies on solar power. How long does it take for a total eclipse to all of about, what is it, half an hour, is it 20 minutes? I don't know, can't remember. Anyway, the event is taking place on the morning of March. The eclipse will be visible across Europe, North Africa and Russia for about 90 minutes. Northern Scandinavia and the Faroe Islands will experience a full eclipse known as totality. Oh, not totalitarian. Totalitarian.
Where's tiptoe is at the bottom of the page?
Eh?
The totalitarian tiptoe.
Yeah, that's it. I thought that connected. Rang a bell. Totality. Totalitarian. Dr. Steve Bell, head of the HM Nautical Almanac Office, told Mail Online that Tórshavn in the Faroe Islands will see 2 minutes and 2 seconds of totality. And the maximum duration of totality will be 2 minutes 47 seconds at a point 186 miles to the east of Iceland in the Norwegian Sea. In London, the partial eclipse, when the moon starts touching the sun's edge, will start at 8:45 GMT. The maximum eclipse will hit at 9:31 AM, and this will be the point when the moon is closest to the centre of the sun. By 10:41, the moon will leave the sun's edge, and the partial eclipse will end. So we've got that to look forward to on 20th of March, 20th of next month. It's the sun, isn't it? It's all about the sun, but not according to the global warming. It's got nothing. It's got nothing to do with the sun. And moving that around, that's probably made the voice go funny. But yeah, so I did have another article, but I can't remember what I've done with it, PJ. But that's about it for me tonight. I left you guys with all the juicy stuff. I'm sure Dom has got plenty of it, and we'll sit on the side and make a comment or two. I should make over to you, Dom.
Dom, what's your flux? What you got for us?
Yeah, thank you. First article: Natalie Bennett may have been given the worst political interview ever. The Green Party launched its election campaign today, however it did not get up to the best of starts. Party leader Natalie Bennett caused a stir during an interview on BBC Radio 4's Today programme by suggesting the West should give concessions to Russian President Vladimir Putin, and then she gave this interview to LBC. Let's have a look at this video. You gonna play it?
Yep. Just give me 1 second.
Council housing. We want to build 500,000 new social rent homes. That means council.
Where will you get the money from for that?
Well, what we want to do is fund that particularly from removing the tax relief on mortgage interest for private landlords. We have a situation where private landlords at the moment are basically running away with a situation of hugely rising rents. They're collecting large amounts of housing benefit.
But how much would that be worth, the mortgage relief for private landlords?
Well, that's part of the whole costing of all of this.
Yeah, but how much will that bring? I mean, well, the cost of 500,000 homes. Let's start with that. How much is that going to be? Right.
Well, that's you've got a total cost that will be spelt out in a manifesto.
So you don't know.
No,
no, you don't. Right. So we don't know how much those homes are going to cost, but the way that it's going to be funded is mortgage relief from private landlords. How much is that worth?
Right. Well, what we're looking at in terms of the figures here.
Yeah.
What we need to do is actually we're looking at a total spend of 2.7 billion.
500,000 homes, 2.7. What are they made of? Plywood.
But basically, what we're talking about is 500,000 new homes, and basically each £1 spent on this brings back £2.40.
No, but what is the total cost of 500,000 homes?
It's about a cost of 60,000 per home.
60,000.
Mm-hmm. Because what we're talking about is the opportunity
but
for...
that can't include the land.
Well, what we're talking about is what we want to see is the possibility of homes being built.
That's not much more than a large conservatory, £60,000. So where's the land? How are you going to pay for the land?
Right. Well, what we're looking at doing is basically.
Are you all right?
Sorry, yes. As you can probably hear, I've got a huge cold.
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
Yeah. So what we need to do is basically social rental homes.
Right. Still don't see how you're going to get this sum at 60. You don't actually know how much this is going to cost, do you?
Yeah, we have a fully costed program which we'll be releasing, which we will release.
Shouldn't you be aware of what that cost would be now?
Right, yes. So what we're talking about is $6 billion a year. So the current budget is $1.5 billion a year.
$6 billion.
Yeah.
So that will be attained by taking mortgage relief from private landlords. That's £6 billion worth, isn't it?
And we're also looking in investing. Yeah, well, we've got the fully costed figures here.
You just said that on a couple of occasions. How much does mortgage relief from private landlords bring in then?
Basically, we're talking about an overall saving of £4.5 billion from the overall forms.
Mortgage relief is worth £4.5 billion a year?
And this is other
from
savings as well from private landlords as well. We're looking at housing benefit reforms, and what we also want to do is bring in caps on private tenants.
Yeah. Do you think you might have perhaps ginned up on this a bit more, Natalie Bennett?
I think that we're talking about a whole range of issues.
No, but you personally, might you have ginned up a little, might you have read into this perhaps a little more in hindsight?
Well, what we're talking about is a whole range of issues this morning, ranging from the economy, from the NHS, homes,
yes, I've only time
climate.
for two, unfortunately. I wish we had more time.
We're done, back to you. Just looking at this article at the bottom here, that looks pretty interesting.
Well, Bennett's Tuesday morning interview risks overshadowing the Green Party's campaign launch, as well as scoring a ComRes poll in today's Daily Mail, which gave the party its highest ever rating. The party share of the vote has risen to 8%, its highest showing with ComRes since 2010. The poll puts them level with the Liberal Democrats. Bennett later issued an apology to party members. Speaking later at a press conference to launch the party's campaign, Bennett admitted it was absolutely excruciating in the studio. Occasionally one has a mind blank, she added. Mind blank. Appearing later on the BBC Daily Politics, she issued an apology to party members, admitting she had not done any kind of job presenting the policies. I had a very bad interview when I was in this morning. I'm very happy to confess that, and I'm very sorry to the Green Party members who I didn't do a good job. any kind of job representing our policies on, she said. So, yeah, that's Bennett. I was going to be voting Greens at the election, but I think I've changed my mind now.
And that's the desired result. That's the desired result. That's what it's all about. I think she sounds a little bit like an Australian. Is she Australian?
Is she Australian? I'm not sure, Natalie, but I'm not sure.
Well, I think she's just a setup. I think the Green Party is a setup. I think the whole thing is a joke, and it's been set up for people to go like.
Yeah, she was born in Sydney.
Well, there you go. I mean, not that she shouldn't, should not be allowed to stand as a member of Parliament. I guess I don't know, but I don't know rules to parliamentary whether you can do that or not. But denizens or something. Somebody said to me one day. I don't know what that means, but there you go. Is that something to do with it, PJ? I don't know. But the thing is, I think she's she obviously doesn't have a clue what she's talking about. I think I have more of a clue, and that's stretching it. But I think the desired result is exactly your response to it, PJ.
Well, when she was speaking about it, what was coming to my mind were these, those steel, shipping containers. But then he said, well, they're made out of plywood, and I thought, well, obviously not. So.
Yeah, but then like he says, what about buying the land to put this property on? Where's the, he ain't talking about that. But I think it's just the whole complete.
Well, now, you can buy a piece at Lake District for £8,000.
Well, I think it's just all part of the apathy game, right? Because so all these people who were going to vote for Green now, so it was all completely destroyed. Now they're not even going to entertain the Greens, or even if they're the thought of voting just because they think that they've got a choice and they think that they'll do something different this time round, and the Greens look quite good, and now it's completely got these people going, oh, I might as well go back to Labour or Conservative. I don't agree with them, but they've got policies and they do talk quite well, and I think that's what it's been all about. I don't.
Well, she obviously doesn't. It's you were like a rough episode of Dragon's Den, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just well, I would have turned around and said to them, like, well, let's just get the Bank of England to print it like they always do. Now, let's get the money from the Bank of England, the numbers from the Bank of England.
Yeah, interest free.
Yeah, interest free. Let's get rid of the interest, but I'll tell you what, let them have the interest. Let's just write a big fat check and give it to the rich, and we can pass the debt then onto the onto the Joe public who think I'm representing them.
Onto the boys with big boots.
Well, it's actually that sums the whole game up for me. That woman, perhaps she should be the Prime Minister.
Right, moving on to the next article. London schoolgirls believed to have entered Syria, say the Metropolitan Police. Let's have a look. The police believe that 3 London schoolgirls they were trying to prevent from joining Islamic State have entered Syria. Scotland Yard launched an international search last week to find the teenagers, who had been lured by jihadi propaganda and flown to Turkey, which is a common entry point to war-torn Syria. The Met said on Tuesday it believed that Samima Bangam, 15, Khadija Sultana, 16, and Amira Abbas, 15, had crossed from Turkey into Syria. The girls' families had made emotional appeals for their safe return. Neither they, the girls' school, Bethnal Green Cabinet, nor British authorities had any idea what the trio were planning to do. In a statement, the Met said, officers from the MPS Counter-Terrorism Command, leading the investigation to the 3 missing schoolgirls from East London, now have reason to believe that they are no longer in Turkey and have crossed into Syria. Detectives had been working closely with Turkish authorities in the hope that snowy conditions in Istanbul may have delayed attempts by the students to get into Syria. The 3 took a flight last Tuesday during the first hour of school break from London Gatwick direct to Turkey. Questions are being asked about border controls and about why Turkish Airlines allow 3 unoccupied teenagers onto the flight, seemingly without any suspicion being raised. The three are believed to have been radicalised over the internet and to follow social media accounts linked to Islamic State. The BBC reported that schoolgirls could have entered Syria at the border crossing into Kilis, where holders of valid Syrian passports are allowed to enter Syria. However, a Syrian who is involved in smuggling people across the border said that his countryside was controlled by fighters of the Free Syrian Army who would not allow Islamic State militants to drive through. There are many easy ways for Islamic State members to cross into Syria, he said. There are countless smugglers' routes all along the border that are easy to use. Bethnal Green Academy said it had barred access to social media from its classrooms, and the radicalisation had not happened on its premises. So, they believe to be in Syria now. Once they're in Syria, I mean, so likely they're going to be able to get back even if they want to come back. There's many who want to come back, and because of the Islamic State, they're keeping them back, aren't they? And they're killing them if they want to return, so... But they must want to be there. Right, moving on. Similar article, but British soldier who left the country to fight against the Islamic State has been found. The serving British soldier reported to have left the country to join the Kurds in the fight against the Islamic State has been found and has been returned to his unit, Defence Secretary Michael Fallon has told MPs. The man, understandably be 19, left his base after telling his family he was joining the Kurdish Peshmerga in their battle against the extremist group. He is understood to have joined the army at the age of 16 after leaving school and had been learning Arabic. Sky News report that in a letter to his family, the soldier said, "I've gone to join the Kurds in Syria and Iraq and with other British people and Canadian at the moment. I don't know how to explain it to you, but I really want and need to do this, and I will be safe." In December, it emerged that two former British soldiers had travelled to Syria to fight against IS after feeling compelled to take up arms following the murder of aid volunteer Alan Enin. So he's been found anyway, he's been returned to unit. So don't know if he's if he'll face any proceedings or any little military jail time in army. Right. Carer who stole thousands from dementia sufferer 93 she was supposed to be looking after is jailed for 8 months. Sorry. This is a picture of Lindsay Mayfair, 33, who's been jailed after stealing off a 93-year-old. A carer totally betrayed a 93-year-old dementia sufferer by drawing thousands from her bank account and setting it aside to pay for a gardener and milk. Lindsay Murphy has been jailed for 8 months over the scam, which was only rumbled by the vulnerable pensioner's family after she had stolen $2,600. Her elderly victim's health deteriorated after her bank balance plummeted, and she is now confined to a care home, Liverpool Crown Court heard. Today, the victim's son says she was ashamed at the theft that tore her life apart. He told the court in a victim impact statement, "Our family feels totally betrayed by Lindsay Murphy as we trusted her to care for our mother. At a time in her life when she deserved to be treated with dignity and respect because of her age and vulnerability, she had found herself having to deal with this stressful situation. She was ashamed she was taken advantage of by someone she liked and trusted." Murphy, 33, visited the victim 3 times a week between August 2013 and January last year, as part of her job with the agency Community Caring, the court heard. On 9 occasions, she withdrew £200 to £500 from the pensioner's account at a bank branch in Merseyside, putting aside the money to pay for milk and a gardener. Her scam was only rumbled when the pensioner's son noticed her bank balance had dropped despite only he, his brother and sister-in-law, having access to her account, to her cards. So, yeah, she's jailed for 8 months. Should have work in care home again.
My thoughts on that is, by the way, she looks like a 93-year-old with an hair dye, but that's not what we're going to say. What we're going to say is her son, the 93-year-old son, should be the one looking after her, you know, the mother. Don't be putting him in these nursing homes and places like that. I don't agree with it personally. I don't know what Andy thinks.
I I just think it's state of the world. I mean,
It goes back to responsibility, though, doesn't it? I mean, if you've got a mother at 93-year-old.
Well, it's.
I've got a thing against these care homes. And,
Well, so have I, because in more ways than one, because I experienced my parents going through care homes, and it wasn't a jolly experience, and the rumours are often truths about what the elderly people say about these care homes, and I've experienced that personally.
Yeah, well, I did work experience in one, and what they do, all residents would sit in a TV room, all round room, round no corners and that, going round, and they would sat there all day, doing no.
Yeah. Well, they have the habit, as in my mother's case, of when your mother's got the flu and she's elderly, of conveniently leaving all the windows open in the middle of January so that they can catch pneumonia and then go on to the Liverpool care pathway plan, and then the rest is obvious.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've heard let me just say them rumours, but you know, this is the way this society.
It is society. I mean, because to look after somebody with dementia, they need full 24-hour care. You know, so it's a catch-22, really, isn't it?
Look, everybody, all they think about is this money.
People have got to go to work and earn a living, so they don't really have.
Yeah, well, humanity's gone out the window in this world, hasn't it? Let's be honest about it.
Well, it goes back to priorities over importance, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very depressing to sort of read these articles and that sort of thing. And yeah, I've had we all know. Well, like I say, I've had personal experience with my own parents when they were elderly, before they left the mortal coil with so-called care homes. Anyway, over to you, Dom.
Next article: ex-wife told to stop sponging off millionaire and get a job. This is a real sponging off her husband, ex-husband. A judge has told the ex-wife of a millionaire to get a job. Tracy White, 51, was told by Lord Justice Pitchford she has no right to be supported for life in her £450,000 home at her ex-husband's expense. The Court of Appeal judge said divorcees with children aged over 7 should go to work. The former riding instructor, her mother of 2, chose not to seek work when she split from top racehorse surgeon Ian Wright in 2008. After 11 years of marriage, their 1.3 million home in 6 acres of countryside was ordered to be sold and the money split. Mrs. Wright got a mortgage-free house in Newmarket, Suffolk, plus stabling for her horse and her daughter's ponies. This is her husband, yeah, arriving in court. Her ex was ordered to pay her and the children £75,000 a year in maintenance and school fees. About 33,200 of that was spousal maintenance for her upkeep. Mr. Wright, 59, grew sick of the burden, and last year went to the High Court to seek a cut. Upholding a previous ruling, the judge said, "It's essential she starts to work now. Payments will tail off over 5 years and cease when Mr. Wright retires." So, yeah, I think this is the right verdict. Ex-wife shouldn't be able to keep living off their ex-husbands for still alive if they're rich. They should really go out and get a job.
Well, I thought we were living in that sort of society where everybody has to have a job.
Yeah, times are changing now, and so she will be going to work, back to work. I don't think she's going to like it either. Next article: jar of Nutella destroys family home and kills pet dogs. This is the house here that's been on fire, all burnt out. A dog died and the house was gutted in a fire spot by sun rays shining through a glass jar of Nutella. The blaze started when low winter sunlight was refracted by the Nutella jar, which had been used to collect loom bands on a windowsill, investigators believe. So this happened in the winter, not the summer. It is thought the rays were magnified and beamed onto the blinds, causing them to catch fire. Malcolm Murphy, who lived at the wrecked house in Twickenham, south-west London, said he was out celebrating his anniversary with wife Lindsay and their 2 children at the time of the blaze on February the 15th. The family's Jack Russell, Chile, was trapped inside and died, while the first floor bedroom was destroyed and the roof was damaged in the fire on February 15th. The child believed to have sparked the fire was on the windowsill in his daughter's bedroom. He told Get West London they were heartbroken at the death of the dog, adding, "We've been told it will be up to a year before the house is ready for us to move back into." The electrical supervisor, 41, added, "I want to ensure the people are aware of the dangers and know to keep glass items away from windows and out of direct sunlight so they don't have to go through anything like this." Charlie Pugsley of London Fire Brigade said, "It sounds far-fetched that a jar containing a few rubber bands caused a severe house fire, but that's exactly what's happened. It's worth spending 5 minutes checking that your window ledges are clear of any glass or crystal that might lead to potential life-changing blaze." So this is the picture of the house where, if you look at the roof, it's all properly burnt away.
Yeah, I did come across, this was a couple of days after the founder of Nutella, also the Ferrero Rocher, died, is it not?
Yeah, well, last week, Linga Tycoon Michelle Moore told how a fire broke out at her home in similar circumstances. She wrote on Twitter, "Oh my god, sun coming through the window, beanbag next to mirror table. Beanbag has just gone on fire, incredible how an housewife can start." Miss Moore put the fire out herself and firefighters did not attend. LFB said, "Sun rays have caused 125 fires in the last 5 years, one they are risking the winter as well as the summer." Miss Bugsy said the figures show that these sorts of incidents are not an urban myth. So,
either that or it were Mr. Ferrero's photon. What caused it?
I got a solution to that. Like the government probably have the same solution to all that. Is you can ban the sun or you can ban jars of Nutella.
You're gonna put a bag over your house. Or else we'll bring window tax back. How'd you like that one?
50 years full of stories. Well, this is one of them.
Anyway, there you go.
Next article, crying dog Gaza left abandoned at Eastbourne Station, returned to owners. Right. A dog found crying outside a train station after it was abandoned has been returned to its owners. More than 200 people offered to take in Gaza after hearing how he was tied to a post in Eastbourne. Sorry about that. And left to fend for himself. Investigators had 7 days to find the owner before the rehoming process would begin. But animal welfare officers at Eastbourne Borough Council traced the owner with just hours to spare. The dog was returned to the family, who put him in the hands of the man responsible for leaving him outside the Eastbourne station. Sorry about that. According to a council spokesman, the family situation meant that they had to entrust the dog's care to someone else, who then went and dumped him alone. Council spokesman said, "They had that dog put in temporary care of somebody else, and that person was the person that abandoned the dog. We were trying to trace the legal owners, and they wanted to get the dog back, and they got the dog back. They were saddened about what happened, and they were very keen to have it back. The council contacted our SPCA to see whether any animal welfare crimes were committed. The spokesman added, welfare officers felt the best place for it was back home. The RSPCA is not currently investigated." No, sorry about that. It's got sort of cough coming on. So this is the dog here. It's back with its owners now anyway after being abandoned.
Yeah, nice dog and all that.
Another picture. This is where he was abandoned, tied up. We just some water here.
Oh.
Why is
it? A little bit like your dog.
Yeah, it does.
Why is it that if you could have picked 1,000 species, if I'd not seen the article, I bet I could have said it's probably some type of staffy.
Yeah, oh, they're renowned. You go around some of these rescue centres and they're full of them.
Yeah,
Absolutely full. Because they're hot, they're hard to rehome, they're very hard to rehome.
Yeah, but what is it that every other dog walker I encounter?
Because they've been given a bad name. Staffies are given a bad name. Unfortunately.
I've only just started.
The people who usually do pick staffs up usually get them from another litter rather than going to places like rescue centres and getting them at a certain age.
You don't think it's because the fashion is if you have a dog, you must have a staff?
That's the stereotype. I mean, I didn't get my staffy for that.
Oh no, I'm just saying that pretty much every dog we encounter when we walk dogs are all staff.
No, they don't know.
I just wonder why if it's as fashionable as wearing a hoodie. It seems to be around since Rocky II, 2,000 years ago. Anyway, my point is, I could have guessed it was going to be a staffy, even without seeing the article. I'd throw that in.
Yeah.
That's an observation.
Same here, Andy. Same here. Many others who are watching this will probably think it's same, but when you look into that dog's eyes, you know what's going away.
Oh yeah, I've got 2 dogs myself, and yeah, this is it. I would, yeah. I was confused. Anyway, I'll let you get on, Dom.
Yep, cannabis is 114 times safer than alcohol. Cannabis could actually be the safest drug available, safer even than booze. A study has found that weed is actually 114 times less deadly than alcohol, according to the journal Scientific Reports. The report's authors studied the effects of alcohol, heroin, cocaine, tobacco, ecstasy, crystal meth, and cannabis. When consumed with any other drug to influence the body, alcohol was actually the likeliest to kill users in doses typically consumed by users, then heroin, then coke. Marijuana was the least deadly. It is very, very difficult to kill yourself using dope. In conclusion, the results point to strict legal regulatory approach rather than the current prohibition approach. However, before you start about lighting up another doobie, the report only looks at the level of fatality, not the physiological effects. The authors suggest a risk management prioritization towards alcohol and tobacco rather than illicit drugs. So yeah, but even though I know cannabis is a lot safer than alcohol anyway. I mean, even I know that.
Just it's an addendum to what we covered yesterday with one of Andy's articles.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
I'm surprised they're not talking about uranium and shisha pipes.
Well, it's certainly a lot more safer than the 400,000 deaths each year in America caused by pharmaceutical grade drugs. Don't you think?
That's a lot of deaths and all.
That's the figures. 400,000 a year in America die from pharmaceutical drugs.
Just raise your attention to that article here, Dom, if you want to stop it. More than 50,000 signed petition to free the father who gave his cancer-stricken toddler cannabis oil. For those that are aware of that article.
Yeah, we think we covered an article on that when he were
yeah, we did.
arrested. Yeah, we covered
not that petitions.
So yeah, that's an update then. So that's an update then to it.
Yeah.
I should have added to the prescribed drugs by doctors, by the way, the 400,000 in America. Anyway.
Right, yep. And the next one's there's a trained masturbator at large, and police are on their own. So this is a picture of him supposed to be masturbating on the train. This is a picture if you know him. Contact the police who wanted. There's no doubt that train journeys can be painfully dull, but while most travellers would prefer to use their phone or read a book, one man apparently decided to pass the time in a rather more socially unacceptable way. Police are appealing for help finding an alleged mistress masturbator on a train near Blackfriars Station, who was seen in a video posted to social media. We have been made aware of the video posted online that appears to show a man touching himself inappropriately to Detective Sergeant Margaret Story. So, officers are currently analysing the video and appealing for the person who recorded it to come forward. I believe that the man in the photo can help us with our investigation. I would urge him to make himself known to us, or anyone who knows him to contact us. It is unknown when the incident happened, or at what time. So anyone with information has to contact police on 0800 40 50 40. And this is the man here.
Yeah. A bit of wank news.
Perhaps you should have twinned it with that article that keeps coming up at the top. I don't know if it's on this page, Tom, is it? We go up
Top of the page.
Is it on this one? I might have been on the page before. It's been on 2 or 3 of your articles about a man having sex with a post box.
Oh yeah, well I've dropped that article actually. He's been found dead. I was gonna do that article tonight, and he's been found dead, but I dropped it.
Why the hell can you have sex with a post box?
Yeah, well there's a video on there showing you the actual post box, and I was trying to think how can you have sex with the post box, and I don't know what he was doing. But he's been found dead behind a Chinese, back of a Chinese.
Oh, I see. All right.
Yeah.
I'd only caught it.
He must have been upside down.
Today, he's only died today. He's been found dead today, and
Hey?
he's been found dead today.
Oh, blimey. So, what's the link there?
Oh, I don't know. They don't know yet. They're investigating, but he might embarrassment. He might have gone it.
Well, I'll say he were upside down and blood went to his head.
Well, yeah, it's I don't know. It's crazy old world, isn't it? I don't know.
Yep, right. And finally, my last article. Octopus eating a crab is the stuff of nightmares. This battle to the death between an octopus and a crab is truly horrifying. The unsuspecting crab, about 4 inches long, is first seen minding its own business next to a rock pool in Yellow, Australia. What happened next to the amateur wildlife photographer by surprise? So this is crab just minding its own business. Lurking beneath the surface of the rock pool was the octopus of nightmares. On close inspection, the cephalopod mollusk can be seen watching from his lair before the drama unfolds. In a split second, the octopus launches itself from the deep and grabs the crustacean. The beast is a ball of writhing tentacles and smothers the crab immediately. The creature then inches back to the rock pool, dragging the crab to a certain death. Well, there's a little video of it. Anyway, are you ready?
Yep, got that one.
Just mind the language. Full screen.
Not sure it'll work on a full screen.
Shutting! There's an octopus eating a crab!
Yeah, that's been
Wonder how it killed it then by smothering its oxygen supply, so because crabs can go underwater for quite some time.
Yeah, well,
Lots
that's a live under rocks, aren't they?
They've got gills, isn't it? Crab's got gills, isn't it? Shows you, I would be the octopus coming out of the water and grabbing him.
Not only that, I'm struggling to wonder how it's going to kill it. I mean, if it tries to suffocate, drown it.
I think it just turns to acid, it just swallows it and it just...
But they've got poisonous tentacles, haven't they?
Yeah.
He's definitely eating it, he's not just killing it for the fun, he's going to eat that.
Oh, got a good appetite. that could turn into one big octopus.
I like
Hey.
the way, Dom, that you started it off and you said that this crab was just, you know, minding its own business.
Hey, you might start predicting scores, football scores. Never know. We need a replacement.
Very good, Dom. You always end on a humorous one.
Yeah.
Right, that's all from me. So.
Yep, it's all from me.
Good night from me.
Catch you tomorrow.